Oh, gosh dang it. This was not part of the plan. It was not supposed to be snowing. Seriously? Hey, Siri, when will the snow stop?
No, I don't think it's snowing right now.
Well, good morning, everybody. Dang it, see? Winter weather's fine if you have the right clothes for it. I definitely do not. Ooh, gotta watch out. There's some ice on the ground over here as well. Dang it. And also, last night when I got to the hotel, I looked down and it looked like one of my tires was getting flat. So, this is a inauspicious start to the day. It's just a light dusting so far, but there's ice underneath the snow. It's a little slippery over here. That wasn't supposed to happen. You know what? I don't think it's flat. Woohoo! I had a little low tire warning. I think it was mostly just weather related. But then it looked low to me when I got here, and I was like, oh man, is that going to go flat overnight? It did not go flat. So that's good. Plus, I'm going to go to Les Schwab and get a oil change anyway. So I'll be fine. Look at this, okay? I know. Those of you who live in winter places are like, what? What's the big problem? I'm from Southern California. This is my greatest fear. Anyway, good morning, everybody. From Cedar City, Utah. What an unexpected treat. I'm going to go get some coffee and then pack up my stuff. It's not as windy down here as it first appeared. Well, at least not on this side of the hotel. But look at that. I'm not used to waking up in this, that's for sure. Now I know how the penguins feel. But luckily, the hotel had the world's tiniest cups of coffee. So for now, I'll be toasty warm. That was not on the agenda. The locals look unconcerned, though. I just saw somebody jogging in shorts. So I think he'll probably be fine. All right, there we go. The sun has come out. There was a crazy windstorm, actually, sort of between most of the snow and the sun finally coming out. But I think even that's cleared up a little bit. Time to hit the road. When I got here yesterday, I knew it would be cold at night. I knew it was going to drop down. Did not expect the roads would be so icy. Just watched a sports car slipping and sliding all over the road. Hopefully the interstate will not be as bad. Like I said, I'm from Orange County. Ice on the road is not my thing. Oh, geez. Looks like someone's already wrecked. That's no good. Whew. Couple of accidents on the road. So far, not too bad, though. The interstate is fine. Boy, what a difference a couple of miles and 1,000 feet of elevation or so can make. Look at this. Thankfully, there's no snow down here. Whew, there we go. Good morning, everybody. I've pulled up into one of the most beautiful neighborhoods I have ever seen. Beautiful, well-to-do homes, absolutely stunning scenery, only this neighborhood is a little different from your average Utah well-to-do neighborhood, because this neighborhood is actually plopped down right on top of an old ghost town. Welcome to Silver Reef, Utah, a once thriving 19th century silver mining town right out here in the sandstone. Apparently, silver in this type of geology is very, very rare. It was a surprise to everyone when it was discovered in 1866. And of course, back then, this was the land of Brigham. This was Mormon territory as far as the eye could see. But with silver mining came the usual rowdy crowd of Gentiles, non-Mormons, saloon keepers, gamblers, miners, all sorts from all over the world. And by 1876, there were over 2,000 people living out here in the Utah desert. And of course, as the Mormons saw it out here in Utah, it was a den of sin and iniquity. You would have never found a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Still sort of early in the morning out here, so I've pulled up before the museum has opened. I think it's opening up actually any minute now. So I'm just taking a little stroll here through some of the ruins of Silver Reef. I've heard about this place for years. I've seen the signs on I-15 between Las Vegas and Salt Lake City. This is the first time I've had an opportunity to actually stop and take in the scenery, and I was not expecting there to be so many rich people homes plopped down right on the old town site. But you know what? If you're going to live anywhere and build your mansion anywhere, a former ghost town is not a bad spot. Okay, I can see people have opened the doors to the museum. Let's go check it out. Man, it is beautiful out here. And apparently, this was downtown Silver Reef. There's a few ruins, but beyond the modern buildings and houses, there's not too much here. But of what little remains, this is obviously the best part. Check this out. This is the old original Wells Fargo building. Today, it's the Silver Reef Museum. Always awkward going inside a museum first thing in the morning when you're the only one there and all eyes are on you, especially when they're small, but I've got to check this out, Doc. All right, let's get inside. All right, right inside the door, a huge display about the sandstone silver mining. Here's the guy who discovered the silver, John Kemple. Some more early pioneers. These are the guys that hit the first pay dirt, started the town. And the people in here are very friendly, just explained the whole process of silver mining to me and the stamp mills. In fact, there's a little model of a stamp mill over here that actually works. Look at that! I've never seen a little working stamp mill model before. Boy, there were a lot of buildings.
Yeah, I got a couple thousand people living in this area. Right down here would be the Wells Fargo building, and it would be right there.
Oh, wow.
And so as you come on down, you see other structures.
Yeah. So most of the town would be where those fancy houses are now.
Yeah,
Up that
above,
ways, yeah.
The rest, this, if you look at this is Main Street, and it comes on down and goes past. This is Chinatown.
Oh, okay.
This over here is the Christie Mill site. Right here is the building, and this is the tailings pond.
Look at this fantastic little bar here. There's a little souvenir shop in the back. Right now I'm headed in to the rest of the museum. Dude, this is so cool. This is the last intact building in town that didn't have to be restored. The old Wells Fargo stage office and basically bank. Oh, that is so cool. My guide Brian just told me this is one of two original safes from the building. This would have been for your paperwork, your deeds and contracts, because the safes were obviously fireproof. Somebody's removed the inner door here. And this is the original vault. The walls are 18 inches thick. Look at the outer door here and the inner door. The rest of the building has a basement, but obviously there's no basement underneath the vault, so you can't dig into it. They use the vault for storage a little bit, a closet. Look at some of the artifacts in here. Got some silver certificates and mine stock. Look at that. That's an original piece right there. That's fantastic. These are some replicas on the wall here. There's all kinds of silver coins, the kind made out of the bullion they would have got here. You know, the raw silver. It's pretty crazy. Fire was the main danger to all your important paperwork, and obviously your bullion, your money, could melt as well. Fires destroyed most of this town, even though it was rebuilt at one point. But this building never burned because they have big metal shutters they can close on the outside of the building. You got 18 inches of airspace. You got 18-inch thick walls. But apparently there's tons of dirt, like inches and inches of dirt, up on top of the roof, in the rafters as well, just to protect it from fire. The first room we were in was a mercantile general store. Back in the day, this room was the stage office or the business office. And look at this. These are photos of people in Silver Reef. Those are the old buildings. There's the Cosmopolitan restaurant. These are people who lived here in Silver Reef. A lot of photos over here. Most of the buildings are gone, as he was explaining to me, not because of fire, but because the nearest timber to build any wooden buildings is 50 miles away. So as soon as a building would be abandoned here, as the town dried up, the local farmers and ranchers would scoop up that wood, recycle the nails, and the town slowly but surely disappeared. Here's a weird, mysterious sandstone carving found in the ruins of the town. Most of these are artifacts found within the town site or donated by people whose families lived in the area. Look at this old stove right here. It's called the Frost Killer. Look at that. Look at that branding, even back in the day. The Frost Killer. Here's the bowl of an opium pipe right there. You got opium cans, so there was a Chinatown in Silver Reef. Wow, look at that. Chinese coins and Chinese porcelain pottery over here. Of course, every old West town's got its bottle hunters, and plenty of old whiskey bottles have been found. Musical instruments. Wow. Dude, that is an old telegraph battery. That's crazy. Got some stirrups, an old Springfield rifle. There's a 10-gauge shotgun right there. And hey, spurs. Look at that. Among the other bottles, you have food bottles. It actually preserves food. And some, look at that's a pickle bottle right there. That's crazy. You got soda and mineral water, old Coca-Cola. They had Coca-Cola out here. And obviously medicines and liquor. There were 12 saloons and a brewery. Lots of mining tools over here. Look at those old boots over there. Dang. Man, they found everything from tools for making lace to old pancake locks. Look at these. Those are so stylish. We should make locks like that today. I wish I had a lock like that on my locker in high school. Then my gym clothes would have been chucked in the shower so much. Pocket knives, big old square nails. These are all from like trash pits that were in town. Wow, look at that. Those are pieces from children's toys, dolls. Little porcelain or china doll heads. They found all kinds of pottery fragments, medicine bottles. Look at that, some glass insulators in there, old lanterns. Ah, Tuna Tyler's favorite, dude. The old bedpan. You got your chamber pot right there. Somebody found that in 1990. That's crazy. This is really cool because they still have a strong box, a Wells Fargo strong box from the Stagecoach. Look at that thing. Bound with iron. You lock that bad boy up with your important papers or maybe even your silver coins or silver bars. Look at the old lock on there. That is incredible. Those are some of the rarest and most expensive artifacts from the West, especially if it's an actual Wells Fargo strongbox, like a brand name. Good old Wells Fargo, dude. You know, Wells Fargo had several museums. They have one in San Francisco that's just about to close. They had some in LA. I never knew that until COVID. I was Googling around, and of course they were all closed during that time, and most never reopened. Okay, here's the story of this actual building right here. It opened up in 1878. By 1916, it was a private home. Wow. And then 2013, it became the Silver Reef Museum. At least if I'm reading that correctly. Wow, look at all the stuff in here. Lots of bottles. This time with a bunch of labels explaining like exactly what they were. Here we have a bunch of fossils. So they found more than just silver in the sandstone around here. Some more scales and artifacts. What the heck? I really hope that's fake. This guy, James N. Lauder, moved here when he was 35. He was the owner of the town newspaper, the Silver Reef Miner. So these clothes were all donated by families that lived here?
Well, this one, a couple of them were. I don't know how we got every piece of the stuff that isn't identified as coming from a family.
But this coat was owned by a guy who lived in town.
By Thomas Nichols, yeah.
That's crazy. You don't often see that, you know. No. You don't go to Virginia City and they go, here's a coat from a guy that lived here in the 1880s. That is neat.
There's a few, like our Chinese exhibit out in the other room.
Yeah.
That came from Chinatown.
That's so cool.
And the next display next to it, excavated from the Elkhorn Saloon.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, we have a fairly documented history because we had a professor in the 1980s. We had a professor from the University of Pennsylvania, brought his students out here and adopted this mining town as one he wanted to chronicle, consolidated, and say, here's some real documented history about not just tales and lore, and then do some excavation out here to actually recover some artifacts. And so they did that on behalf of, before we ever became a museum.
That's amazing.
So we have all of that stuff archived, and we are able to change our exhibits every once in a while to keep them fresh from stuff we have from his work.
Absolutely fantastic. So our guy's name was Glenn, not Brian. I heard it wrong at first, and Glenn was awesome. He's just touring me around, talking to me for a little over an hour. The building's not very big, but the stuff inside is awesome. And if you have a good guide like that, it gets really darn interesting. Plus, if we step outside into the wind out there, where the wind is blowing quite fiercely out here. Apologies for any wind noise. I can't control the weather. And I didn't bring the other camera with the wind microphone with me. Glenn gave me this Silver Reef trail guide. It's a little walking guide to what's left of the town, or what's left of the downtown down here. You see right next door is the Cosmopolitan Restaurants, reconstructed. He was saying it's basically been here in one form or another since the heyday. And they keep rebuilding it because it's sort of used as the community center in town. Everything goes down right here at the Cosmopolitan. You can see that was basically the line of old Main Street. Across the road over here, they've got this Silver Reef jail set up. It's the only other standing building in this part of town. There's one more back that way. We'll see in just a little bit. Look at this. This is the original town jail, it says on the sign. Apparently when things started drying up here and it was no longer needed, it was moved away from Silver Reef and used as a shed basically in the town of Leeds and later in Washington City, and came back here in 2017. So somebody still had this thing. This isn't a reconstruction. This is the original jail. Come back home. Look at the old doorway here. We could peek inside. Still got bars on the windows. You know what? That looks pretty cozy right now with how windy it is out here. It is just all across the west. Obviously, California is getting the worst of it at the moment. It's going to be crazy getting back home, which is where I'm headed today, long term. But, you know, when in Rome, or when in the old west, do as the old ghost town. I don't know where I was going with that. All right, so going up Main Street, you see these big walls over here. That's something I knew I wanted to check out. There's also some trails over here through remnants of other buildings. We'll check those out as well. This is awesome. I got the whole town to myself. I had the whole museum to myself, the whole town to myself, and it's Saturday. This is incredible. So I bought a book inside of the gift shop, and they also had some original 1870s silver dollars, so I bought one of those as well. And they were very profuse in their thanks. So I think in the off season like this, when it's cold and windy, they don't get a lot of visitors out here. I think each dollar is important, so I always try to buy something from gift shops everywhere, even if I re-gift them to other friends or end up sticking them in my antique store booth or something like that. It's not profitable for me when I do that, but it's just a way of helping out these little places. Anyway, we're at number 4 now. Look at the size of this. This must have been a very substantial building. There's no information in the pamphlet on exactly what this building once housed. It was just the Main Street businesses. So you could see one store would have been here, maybe a hat shop, a haberdasher, maybe a saloon. This one has a basement down there. Obviously upstairs, if there was an upstairs, and this looks like there would have been, you'd have people living up there. Then down over the side here, you can see all these ruins tucked away in the sagebrush. You've got this side street here, Center Street, with all kinds of ruins. It was another main thoroughfare. And right here on the corner of Center and Main was the Harrison House, known as the Waldorf Astoria of Silver Reef, or of Utah Territory even. According to the pamphlet, there was a 5-star restaurant and a grand piano in there. Must have been pretty impressive when you were out here in the sagebrush and the rocks and the sand. Get yourself some oysters and a steak dinner and all that kind of stuff. Look at this. This is awesome. You got this little trail down here through the desert. It's very weird having all these houses around here, some of which are very unusual, very fancy. Look at that one. Looks like a castle. And then interspersed between them, you have all these ruins. The town is a mix of public and private property. And the way it was explained to me, it's also an official archaeological site, and so it's protected from sort of, rooting around and finding old artifacts down here. It's kind of amazing. It would be surreal and kind of trippy being out here in this ghost town, wandering around alone, except for the fact that I'm looking into, people's windows over here. Very strange, very unusual, but like I said, what better place to build your mansion, if you can, than in an old ghost town? The romance of the West. All right, here's Kay. I believe this was the schoolhouse. Whoo, it's windy. So kids went to school right here in the center of a thriving silver mining town. You would have had the stamp mills going all day and night. Bang, 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 bang. Pounding the sandstone into powder so they could extract that silver. Right across from the schoolhouse. Jay right here. This was the Johnson drugstore. To destroyed in 1879 by fire. Man, there's really nothing left of the drugstore, just a pile of rocks. They were telling me inside most of the sandstone here, like I said, the wood was hauled away and recycled, and so was most of the sandstone as well. A lot of it was turned into a CCC camp, basically a Great Depression government program, the Civilian Conservation Corps. My grandfather was in the CCC. Get a bunch of guys with no jobs out of the city and out into government projects like rebuilding parks and trails. They'd pay them $1 a day, and I think send a couple bucks home to their families for every day they were out there in the CCC. My grandpa did it during the Depression when there was nothing else going on in St. Louis. And I guess when they built the local camp, they took some of the stone from some of the abandoned buildings out here at the time. Boy, it's windy. All right, this was the West Street Waterway. They had their own creeks running through town. So they actually had water here, unlike a lot of the dry mining towns, whoa, of the Old West. Then this down here is from relatively more modern times. You see these depressions in the ground over here. And there's some big rock walls as well. This is from a later period when instead of silver mining, they were doing uranium mining out here. Oh, that's right. And this is one of the settling ponds. So this guy over here in this house is living just above some uranium mining action. And actually, I didn't know this when we were standing here earlier. The stamp mill ruins we started at, this bad boy hanging off the side of the cliff going down to the ditch, this was a uranium mill. So that's crazy. Might be some uranium waste down there. Might get a little radioactive. Maybe they got a radioactive Bigfoot over here. All right, so the way Glenn explained this to me earlier is that this right here is the Silver Reef. There's still all kinds of mines out there. You know what? Let him explain it. He explained it better.
That is called the White Reef. That white.
All this white sandstone here?
Yeah, and that's called the Buckeye Reef. And the Buckeye Reef has a white cliff on the back of it, looks just like that. And the reason is they're both the same rock. That's the Springdale sandstone. And that's where the mining took place.
Wow.
And here's the reason. You're standing in the Virgin Anaconda. And from the Red Rock down to the river, about 5 miles that way, this old earth got shoved sideways, made a big old hump in the earth's surface. And everything broke up and washed away, except the real hard stuff. And that's the Springdale sandstone.
Oh.
Okay? There are over 450 openings out here for the mines.
Wow.
So both the White Reef and the Buckeye Reef are full of holes. This side of the anticline came up, and we got pushed it hard enough, it came apart. We're standing over a fault.
Wow.
So that sandstone and that sandstone are the same stuff. Backside of the Buckeye Reef's got a white cliff, looks just like that.
So you said 500 holes?
465 is the actual number.
Most of the mining leases or mining patents are still privately held, and most of the mines apparently are barred up because there are bat populations in them. But there is supposedly a road going back there, and you can explore the backside of the Silver Reef. But this is where most of the mines would have been. You can see some of the mine waste pouring down the hill, some retaining walls, probably from stamp mills and other mining activity. You can see giant rocks just pushed down the hill as well. Supposedly that's called Buckeye Reef, and there was a lot more mining out that way, including some uranium mining later. Also, this is awesome, dude. Now this isn't a very touristy ghost town. Nobody's doing gunfights in the street or anything. Gotta use your imagination. Check out the museum, kind of read a little bit to really get the full enjoyment out of it. But it's only less than 5 minutes off the interstate, off I-15, probably, I don't know, 10 minutes from St. George, maybe 30, 40 minutes south of Cedar City. So it's right between Vegas and Salt Lake City. If you're going down the highway, this is a great stop. Apparently this first set of ruins was a mine superintendent's house. So it's kind of awesome. It's too bad nobody rebuilt this to live in. Maybe it's better as a ruin. It's very picturesque anyway. All right, heading back towards Main Street now. See a couple of buildings. That's the back of the Wells Fargo office and the museum we were just in. There's a little building next to it I didn't check out yet. Boy, it's dry out here. I'm getting parched. This is a reconstruction of a powder house, a building that was used to store explosives. And inside, apparently, is a diorama of what the town itself used to look like. Here we go. Now I found the entrance. Oh, whoa. Sweet. The back wall's got these display cases with dioramas of some of the mills. I mean, these were big industrial operations going on out here. You see a bunch of rocks and ruins, and you don't really realize, like, it'd be the modern equivalent of driving by a factory or something. And then here is the model of the town. There's Main Street right there. Oh, there's Center Street. So we're looking at Center and Main. And the Wells Fargo office is right in that center block, right about there. And then you can see the town would have continued down this way towards Chinatown. That would be off in the distance there, past that building I still haven't checked out. But this is super cool, man. Definitely very different looking back in the day than it is now. But that was a full-on town. Like I said, it had a school. It's another thing you don't really picture when you think of ghost towns. You think of gunfighters, stagecoaches, the middle of nowhere, the man with no name, spaghetti westerns. You don't think about like women and children and people playing marbles in the streets and people going to church and singing hymns. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Well, look at the fire map right there. Look at all those properties. Some of the lots are blank on here, but a lot of them have got names. Wow. You see here some old remnants of buildings, some big old sandstone blocks, and a lot of mining equipment right here just outside the museum, left over from the old days. That's been hauled out here just next door to the Wells Fargo Museum. Look at this old ore wagon right there. Big old ore buckets and winches and hoists and pieces of mining engines. Look at this thing. It's a mobile engine right there. That's amazing. It's an air compressor, a 1920 era air compressor. They kept mining here in fits and starts, you know, throughout the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s. That was the heyday. Things died down in the early 1890s. Pretty much Silver Reef, the Silver Town was done. But then came all the uranium mining and the exploratory mining, looking for other minerals, copper, stuff like that. And so mining is actually still going on in the region. I don't think any is actually going on the reef over here, present day. But like I said, people still own the mineral rights, various companies and stuff. So it could resume here at any time, which is true of a lot of places in the West. Surprising, you go places, you see people still mining for gold and silver, like places like Virginia City and stuff like that. I was out there one time, they were blasting like this huge open pit. Pretty wild stuff. Gosh, this ended up being a lot more to see than I thought there would be. Got this nice little bench area with some sort of maps telling you about the geology of the reef back there that you can see. Kind of the same thing Glenn was telling me earlier in the museum. As you can see, they are very proud of the fact that this is the only place in the United States that silver was discovered in sandstone. Also, they want you to drive carefully. And over here, just beyond that little bench area, we've got our final building, the Rice Bank Building, 1877. I believe this one was reconstructed as well, but I think relatively recently. Our guide inside was saying it burned down in the 1980s, so just about the time I was born, and then basically reconstructed like 10 years later, using a lot of the same stone and materials and stuff like that. So they had a pretty accurate idea of what it was like. What's weird is there's cars parked next to it, and I can see an air conditioner, so this almost looks like somebody's living in there. Strange. And then back down here at the end of the road, you see the sign in the brush for number 9. This would lead you down to Chinatown, and the town basically continued all the way down into that gully. You see those hills back there. I think that's the Buckeye Reef. There were mining operations over there. So all between here and there was Chinatown. There was a racetrack. There were all kinds of buildings. I mean, the town just kept on going and going. As you can see now, there's some private property signs over here in the bushes, so I'm not going down that way. But the road back down to the freeway actually goes through that flatland down there, and I believe passes right next to the old Silver Reef Cemetery. So might cruise there on the way out of here. I did find a trail that kind of led down towards Chinatown, but just because I've been here long enough, I don't think I'm going to go down it. Real quick note though, over here, the Rice Bank Building, according to the pamphlet, was built by a guy named John H. Rice from Pioche, Nevada. So this place is pretty intricately linked with Pioche, where I was last year, Pioche. And in the 1950s, as an older lady, Ann Bassett lived here. So that's a Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid connection. A lot of history here. Normally I like to do a lot of reading before I come to the place. This was sort of just off the cuff, but ended up being pretty fun. Sorry about the wind noise. Nothing I can do about that, at least not until we get back in the car. Crazy how 1 second the wind feels like it's gonna blow you off the face of the earth, and then the next second it's fine. And nothing's more of a pain in the butt than wind. Like, you can stand any temperature, any weather situation, but the wind will just cut right to the bone. All right, let's saddle up. Definitely one heck of a cool stop. As fierce as the winds are today up here, they're even worse supposedly going back down through Nevada, and especially in Southern California where I'm headed. First though, I gotta make a stop at my aunt's house. She's actually out in Nevada now, in Pahrump. Kind of on the way home, sort of on the edge of Death Valley and Las Vegas. I'm sure there's a lot more history out here to explore. Kind of can't wait to come back, honestly. Definitely looking forward to being in the car for a while though, and out of this wind. Check this out though, there's the, my Old West silver dollar. Keep that in my pocket. Maybe it'll bring me good luck on the drive back. All right, well, I got in the car and it was only noon, so I figured, oh, I think I gotta go this way. Figured I might as well come take a peek at the cemeteries. Just really quick before we take off. It's a little dirt road, but it's not too rough or anything like that. Oh yeah, look at that. You can see the head frame up there. I think they said that was from one of the uranium mines, actually. I don't know if you can see that up on the hill. And check this out, the Silver Reef Cemetery. This was the Protestant cemetery. It's fantastic the way they're maintaining all this stuff out here. Clearly they have poured some money into really making this place look nice, this whole area. They've even marked some of the graves without headstones with wooden stakes and some of these crosses that say unknown. Man, this scenery is fantastic. There you go, there's my little RAV4 right there, and you can see just up there. So they were doing a bunch of mining up on this hill. The backside of this, apparently, you can see the sandstone. It's another reef, Buckeye Reef, I believe he said it was called. And supposedly, just a little further on down the trail, down the gravel here, we got the Catholic cemetery. Wow, boy, the wind is sure picking up out here. Wow, so many unknowns. Only a few people had the headstones that have lasted. Look at this guy, Park Morehouse. Didn't live long, did he? Just a wee guy. Just a baby. Somebody sure loved that baby. All right, there you have it. Silver Reef, Utah, and some of the permanent residents. It's pretty much the end of the road here. You can see where some of the hill was carved away by mining. Some modern residences down there headed towards St. George. Pretty darn cool. Oh, and then it looks like to get out, the road actually takes us right past that head frame, the old mine. Awesome, so maybe we'll get a better view after all. Oh yeah, dude, that is cool. Apparently there's a big mine shaft going right down, right underneath that head frame. And if this is the right one, he said that was built in the 50s. They were doing uranium mining down in here. Probably for atomic weapons, which is pretty crazy to think about. Gosh, I cannot overstate how beautiful it is out here. Okay, so you can see Silver Reef. That's that sort of light colored streak back there. And the Wells Fargo office in the town that was right up in that area. Pretty cool. Spent about 2.5, 3 hours here. Now it's time to be getting back to California. And time to go see my Aunt Terry. To me, it feels all remote, like, wow, I'm out in the Old West, and there's this lady just walking her dog. All right, time to go. Cruising under the interstate. It's the I-15 right there above us, and towards the town of Leeds. And apparently somewhere over here was that CCC camp. It's a little windy today, but it looks like a nice little small town. I mean, it's sort of the middle of nowhere, but the houses out here have been really nice. Like, what are people doing for work out here? Dang, maybe it's all that uranium money, who knows? Oh, look at this big, wide, beautiful main street in the town. Lots of nice homes. Up, got a little church over here. Probably a Mormon church, just guessing. I mean, we are in Utah. Ah, this is what I'm looking for right here. Look at this, Leeds Historic CCC camp. Look at the CCC right there on that stone pillar. Oh, that's so cool. It's right before the freeway on-ramp. I wasn't sure if I was gonna find it. Oh, wow. Oh, check that out. Look at the stone walls right here. Look at the stone buildings. Supposedly a lot of this sandstone, the blocks, the cut blocks, were taken right out of Silver Reef, the ghost town. This is so cool. Okay, so this was the infirmary right down here. We're sort of right in the middle of the CC camp. All the old timers would always call it the CC camp, even though it's CCC camp, it's a mouthful. Most of the buildings were usually very temporary, like wooden sided or sometimes even canvas tents. My grandpa actually ended up, I think he was in Pennsylvania, Home, Pennsylvania, and another site in Indiana in the CCC. It's been a challenge trying to get his records. I've been trying for a long time. For whatever reason, National Archives and Records Administration has been slow to get them to me, but this is so cool. They built bridges, constructed roads from Leeds to St. George. They developed the Oak Grove campground. Okay, so like I said, they did get $1 a day, $30 a month, of which $25 was sent home to the family. Wow. Anyway, they obviously built a few of these rock buildings that were a little bit more permanent. This was the dispensary right here. So this is where you got your paycheck. This is where you got your $5 for the month. That wasn't a lot of money even back then, but during the Depression, that was something. Let me tell you. Times were so bad then that my grandpa, well, his wife, their stepmom, actually put my great aunts into why is the door open on this one? Put them into a convent in St. Louis they couldn't get out of. He had a hard time getting them out of there, so they were there to sort of just be fed and housed. I don't think this door is supposed to be open. My grandpa went off to join the CCC, so hopefully earn a little income for the family. Looks like this was an Eagle Scout project helping to maintain this. This is cool. He didn't come out to Utah, but yeah, he was in the CCC, and then later joined the Navy for World War II. So my grandpa was all over the place, man. Crazy. Philip Finazzo. Whew. And it's one of his daughters, my mother's sister, that I'm going to go see in Pahrump. I got to the top of the hill here. Not too many buildings, but we've got this one. Whew, right on the crest. And sure enough, right there on the sign, this was the officers' headquarters. So of course, you got the bosses living on the top of the hill, as usual. And I'm assuming all the barracks and stuff were down here in this flat area where these houses are now, because I could see some retaining walls in that guy's backyard down there. Peeking through the window here, doesn't look like there's really anything inside of these buildings, but it's awesome that they're still here. Whew, that was a bigger climb than I thought it was. All right, back down. And now we'll finally get on the freeway. It's crazy that that whole generation is basically gone now. Just took it for granted while they were around, you know. Now it feels like the inmates are running the asylum. It feels like all the adults are gone, have left the building. Dang, they really were the greatest generation. Boy, I'm having the toughest time actually making tracks today, getting on the road. I'm all distracted by the Old West history, and then just down the road here, just a little ways down the freeway, is the town of St. George, where we were yesterday seeing Brigham Young's winter home. I've actually got to stop again in St. George because I need an oil change. This is what I always like to do. Valvoline instant oil change, because they'll change your oil while you're still in the car. You never even have to get out of the car. Yes. It's so fast, so convenient. It's all they do, so they don't try to upsell you on anything like, oh, your flux capacitor's broken or anything. The only problem is you just sit in the car, you do nothing. You start to get sleepy. Oh, luckily, I think they're done. All right, and now I'm going to do something I almost never dare do anywhere else in the country. I'm getting some food. I'm starving. And here in Utah, they have Costa Vida, where almost everything is gluten-free, everything but the tortillas. It's almost like Chipotle if Chipotle was 100 times better, and it's pretty darn celiac friendly. Dude, it's so good. So good. Probably won't eat it now, probably save it for later down the road. So good. We need these in California. There's only 2 in California. One's in Allie's hometown. That's how I know about it. Costa Vida, dude. Yes. Got myself a little chicken and barbacoa action. A little Dr. Pepper. Ready to roll. Why is it the farther away from California you get, the friendlier everybody is, and the cheaper The gas, $3.12 a gallon. Come on, man. What's wrong with us out there? Decided to forego the interstate for a while. I'm actually taking Old Highway 91 so I can go around the Virgin River Gorge that's along I-15. Too crazy when you're going downhill, all those trucks, everybody's speeding around. What the heck kind of car is that? What is that thing? Supposedly it only adds like 15 minutes to the drive with far less like chaos feeling, so we'll see how it works out. All right, so I took Old Highway 190, the back way around the Virgin River Gorge, through some backcountry. It was very beautiful. Crossed back into Arizona, got back on the interstate, crossed into Nevada. There was a heck of a long drive before spotting Las Vegas out the windows in the distance as I turned right, made my way through the Red Rock Canyon area, just west of Las Vegas. I'd never been out there before, so that was kind of neat to see. And then now I'm on the long, straight, boring road to Pahrump. I'll be honest with you, I thought I was going to stop way more and show you some stuff, but the wind has been out of control today. It's buffeting the car right now as we speak. And so everywhere I stopped, it was ready to blow me over. The camera, well, you would have heard nothing but... I was in Las Vegas, 2 days ago or whatever. It feels like it was 2 months ago. That's how I know I'm getting a little tired. And I'm going to have to leave here, cross Death Valley, and go all the way back to California. Whew! If it isn't completely burned down. Hopefully not. The reason I've detoured to Pahrump is to see my aunt who's just moved out here. Hopefully some of my cousins and a little 1.5-year-old baby in the family, which will be nice. I'm actually stoked to see my family. It's just that I'm worried now that I have the mental acuity of a rock from being so tired. I'll probably be quite dull company, but that's okay. Either way, it'll be good to take a break before driving 4 or 5 more hours back home. Why does all of Pahrump look like relatively new? Is there an old Pahrump? I know nothing of Pahrump. I've only driven through here once, never stopped. This is weird. All right, time for my aunt's house. Oh my gosh, she lives right behind the Mormon church. I think they might be following me. They're following me on this trip. What do they want? I really hope I'm not knocking on a stranger's door. Come on! Okay. All right, that was awesome. I got to see a cat. I got to see my Aunt Terry, Uncle Jack, my cousin Brittany, and surprise, my cousin Randy at work. All right, my cousin Randy is the manager of this Domino's. I just came in and scared him with his whole family. We're all just staring at my cousin now while he works. We're just staring at him while he works. That's acceptable, right? I think they allow that in Pahrump. Hopefully he doesn't get in trouble. And I even got to see my little baby cousin Zach. I saw the baby. Gave my cousin Randy one heck of a surprise. And now I just have one more massive desert to drive through as I go basically over the mountains to Death Valley and then home from there. This has been one long adventure because, of course, the drive to Vegas, all of Vegas, then the drive to Utah, the drive back now, and now the drive through Death Valley home have all bled together. Hey, look at that huge ice cream cone over there. Have all bled together into one fabulous, blurry, weird, strange, crazy, wacky, random trip. And that's just the way I like it. My friends, I'm going into the darkness. Into the night! Thanks for hanging out with me. You helped me stave off madness, gave me someone to talk to. But I think this leg of the journey, I've got to go it alone. For now, you've done your duty. You can go home and sleep well. Yes. Made it through the Death Valley area. Dude. Yes. And soon. Yes. Phone home. Justin, go home.
Home, go home, and sleep well.
Yeah, we just crossed into California, in your county. We're in your county on the Charles Brown Highway going home. 27 miles of Death Valley and then 50 billion more miles down from Death Valley back to the thing with the giant thing. Baker, you know the thing what I'm talking about with that beef jerky and the world's largest thermometer, tallest thermometer. I mean, it's not the largest, just the tallest digital thermometer that will go down. Fast like a home pass, not like a wing pass. That's a different pass, not like a home pass. Whatever the pass is, and we're going down to San Bernardino town. Then we're going over to Anaheim, where Disneyland is waiting for me. Cha-cha-chee, a chupa-dooby-dooby. Is this long enough for the ending? Is this long enough for the time lapse? I don't know, I'm just singing to myself. This will never end up in the video. We are on the BLM. We're cruising all across the land with a hand in the man on the ram. I ran out of words to rhyme. Yeah, and I ran out of time. That's the first car I've seen in so long. Hola, mi amiga. Okay. Adios. I'm alone. I was alone. I was up with myself.